everybody, it's me, Carmine DeStefano, the Bookman. And welcome to the first of a new segment, It's Not That Bad. This is where I take a movie from the past that have been notoriously bashed and review the complaints, sort of denounce them, just so you can get a different perspective of the movie as a whole. The first one I'm going to do is Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Now, I'm somewhat of a Star Wars buff. After all, I did perform the Star Wars saga. And I really loved Episode 1. But popular demand made everyone think that this was the worst set of all of them. But really, when you look at it, it gave us all a different perspective. It expanded the galaxy, it made us all see things in a different light. Originally, we probably thought that Leia and Luke were the main characters, when really, it was Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker that this saga was revolving around. Aside from that, it gave us a different perspective of the Jedi and the Jedi Council, and how the Jedi were investigators as opposed to fierce warriors. It also introduced Jedi arts. When you see a robotic Darth Vader having a hard time beating an aged Obi-Wan Kenobi and Luke Skywalker waving his saber around and screaming, you don't really think there's much art to it. It also introduced the Sith and their role in the galaxy. The fact that Anakin Skywalker was the chosen one, born of the Force, and then he had more potential than Master Yoda, and how he was a kid, an innocent child, that wanted to help everybody, as opposed to just being some really angry guy that killed everything in sight. So, let's take a look at all the problems that people have had and try to denounce all of them. Problem number 1. It's boring. This comes about because a lot of people thought that Lucas spent more time focusing on backdrops and animated characters as opposed to storyline itself, seeing as how there was a lot of talking and not that much action. But really, this is supposed to be the time of a peaceful republic. What's the point of going through that civil war against the Empire if you're just going to go back to a warlike state anyway? And despite all this talk of it being boring, you still had that nice little fish chase, the escape from Naboo and the droids were getting shot into space, cool Jedi moves, 2 ground battles at the same time, the Sith and Jedi battle, and of course, probably the greatest lightsaber sequence of all time. So shut up. Problem number 2. What's with all the set scenes? This is kind of an extension of problem 1, where people are complaining that there were too many negotiations as opposed to action. Once again, peaceful republic, negotiations happen. It also sets up Darth Sidious / Senator Palpatine, the Phantom Menace himself. I love watching how he played the Viceroy of the Trade Federation and Queen Amidala in both of his guises. And it's great to see his reaction in the Senate when Queen Amidala actually goes through with his plan, as if he wasn't planning it that whole time. And after all, Ian McDiarmid is the man. Problem number 3. What's with Padme and Anakin's relationship? This came about because, at the time, Natalie Portman was one of the hotter 18-year-olds, and Jake Lloyd was, well, he was a kid. But really, this wasn't any kind of an attraction. It was more of a friendship, somewhat of an intrigue, rather. I mean, she wasn't attracted to him, but I'm sure Anakin was thinking about her. But it also sets up the idea that Anakin has bonds with people that are unhealthy as a Jedi Knight. And when you break it down logically, he's a natural blonde who's cultured and speaks different languages, loves his mother, can build a droid and a race pod, so he's not that bad a catch. Now, if you have umbrage with Jake Lloyd's performance, yippee! That's your opinion. Problem number 4. The pod race was too long. A lot of people were saying that there was too much involved in the pod race, considering we know it was going to happen. Anakin was going to win his freedom with it. But on the extended version of the DVD, you get a real sense of Anakin's ability to innovate under pressure and his poise under fire, which introduces his ability to use a Naboo fighter ship to blast away the droid control shuttle of the Trade Federation and help win the battle in the end. And after all, these sounds make it really entertaining. Problem number 5, midi-chlorians. What's that all about? I've heard so many times that this whole idea of midi-chlorians makes no sense. So I'm going to make it simpler for everybody. See, this big round thing is a cell, and inside your body are all these cells, and inside these cells, these little happy faces, those are midi-chlorians, and they all have the Force in them. So the more midi-chlorians you have, the stronger you are with the Force. It's like having Lego blocks, and the more Lego blocks you have, the bigger things you can build. It's really not that difficult. Problem number 6, Jar Binks. When I first went to this movie, I expected to hate Jar Jar Binks with a passion. And at first I thought, oh God. Many people didn't appreciate his slapstick, klutzy comedy. A lot of people complained about Ahmed's best performance, saying it was way over the top, too much, he overacted, and it seemed at first he did until Obi-Wan says this. Then he sort of settles into the whole movie, and really he's not annoying enough for me to hate. And besides, he introduced Boss Nass, who is the man, or the Gungan. And he also helped bring about the peace between the Naboo and the Gungans. So please leave Jar Jar Binks alone. He did nothing to you. And that's it for Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. I hope I enlightened everybody and helped you see that it's really not that bad. Me, personally, I love this movie. Not only because it successfully introduces the saga, but as long as I heard
Anakin Skywalker, meet Obi-Wan Kenobi.
And
your apprentice, Skywalker, will be.
That's good enough for me. I thank you all for watching. I have more for you soon to come, so stay tuned, take care, and have a great day.